So Hope, we'll start with another Manager of the Month award. I think that's your second.
My second.
In terms of the results in the first couple games, compared to other months you've had at this club in the WSL, where does that month rank? Because there were some really impressive moments.
Obviously we did really well. Birmingham played very well. We hit the ground running. I think, unlucky not to score more goals. I think we dominated the game. Really solid performance. More importantly, we didn't concede any, which was fantastic. And then I think the second game, Man City, I think the results that weekend, everybody was expecting, I'm pretty sure, Man United and Man City to win the game, not only win the game, but win it quite convincingly. And the fact that we, did really well to deny them opportunities. They did create. Megan Walsh was outstanding on that day, but as was everybody else. Everybody did their job, denied them time on the ball. Meant we came away with a draw. That being said, we did also have opportunities to win the game, and I think we played really, really well. So I think those two games were enough. Probably why I got the award, which it's not just about me. I think it's the whole team, the players execute the game plan, it then makes the coaching staff look good, so hence it probably got the award that I'm very grateful for.
And on those opening round of fixtures, some sides were absolutely wiping other teams away. So what did that make that Man City result even more pivotal maybe for the progression of this side?
I think so. I think those bigger clubs have made some huge signings in comparison to perhaps ourselves. So, when you go up against a team like Man City, full of international players, full of players that have won, medals, Champions League, World Cup, Olympics, I think the fact that we come away with a point, and by the way, playing well, and this is by their own admission, I think they were quite complimentary. Some of the players that I know and some of the players the girls know, that they said generally when a big team draws with a so-called smaller team, it's about the bigger team not playing well. When actually they were saying that we actually played really well, so they were very complimentary. But we deserved a point, and the girls did admirably.
And you mentioned one in particular who we have just spoken to, Megan Walsh. She seems to have come out of the lockdown period, and her game seems to have gone up just the next level. What do you put that down to?
It's all about her, really, her attitude. She works very, very hard. An excellent shot stopper. She I don't know, we kind of joke as coaching staff that she just likes balls being shot at her. She was, I guess, born to be a goalkeeper. She's trusted, she's valued, and she's her performance against Man City, attributed to us to coming away with a point. It was a massive contribution. At the time when the game was going, it was really about everybody, and everybody played their part. But then when you look back on the game, and Man City had some really good opportunities, but Megan Walsh was equal to it.
And she actually touched on the fact that probably the position of goalkeeper has been the largest improvement in the women's game over the last couple of years.
Yeah. There are some talented keepers in this league, and it's been noticeable in the last few years. Some of the young players coming through, talented with their feet, talented, with their hands, their distribution. Yeah, there's been a real shift in that area.
What can you put that down to? Why that's suddenly taken off that position?
I don't know that it's just suddenly. I think the goalkeepers, the younger goalkeepers coming through, have probably been exposed to more goalkeeping coaching, more specific, detailed coaching one-on-one, whereas probably before it was the outfield coach doing a bit of the goalkeeping. I think there's some dedicated attention. Every club in the WSL, and I'm sure the Championship, have a dedicated full-time goalkeeping coach, so they can really do that detailed work with the goalkeeper, and I think that's where the improvements come from.
And you're always a big advocate of praising the rest of your staff and your team.
Yeah.
Alex Penny is your goalkeeping coach.
Yeah.
What do you make of his work over the last 18 months?
Yeah, he's done really well. He knows what he wants. He's very detailed with the goalkeepers. He's been a goalkeeper himself, so he understands it. Has a good relationship with them, knows their strengths, works on their weaknesses, and the fact that he can do that consistently day in, day out to a level shows that in our case, Megan Walsh has certainly pushed on, and that's credit to him as being the lead goalkeeping staff.
On a personal level, how pleased are you to see where the WSL is at now? I know it's not a finished product. I know they're still growing it, but the coverage, the quality, you must be pleased.
Yeah, it's fantastic the way the game has shifted. The professionalisation of the game, it is incredible that it hasn't been around that long. It's very young, and it keeps growing. It's now attracting the biggest names in the game, which is credit to the league, the clubs that have invested, the players that work day in, day out to make sure the product on the pitch is fantastic, so that it attracts sponsorship, it attracts the fans. There's been a real culture shift in the game in this country, and for me personally, I'm just really pleased that I'm still involved. I'm fortunate enough to be at what I consider a fantastic club that support the women's game, as do many others, and it's really pleasing to see. I've been a player part-time, had to work, trained on concrete surfaces, to now a manager that they're training on grass, and it's like, we've got goals with nets, and it's just really shifted. So I, for one, am very, very happy where the game is, albeit it's not the finished article. And I think those young players now that can look up and say, God, I can be a professional footballer, for them, it's a dream. And we mustn't forget the people that has allowed the game to be professional in this country. A lot of hard work has gone into, not just me, players before me, people before me. It's something everybody strived for, and now it's here. So, yeah, it's great.
In terms of where the kind of side you had year one, then year two, and this side, what's the biggest improvement or the biggest strength you now have?
I think we've got a little bit more depth. I think we've got, at least 2 players in key positions that can challenge each other now. Not quite there where we want to be. Injuries don't help. We've had quite some crucial injuries that meant players have been out for a season, so that doesn't help. But I generally feel that the players understand more so now about being a professional footballer. Year one, they went from part-time to that's a big ask. You're almost part-time, you're training for fun, with all due respect. Therefore, it's almost like you're expecting to play. Year two, you're just starting to understand the demands of being a professional. And year three, you kind of get it. And we brought players in that have been at other clubs that understand it, and you understand what those demands are. So it kind of pushes you to eat the right things, sleep properly, recover properly, all those little bits that make a difference. And if you haven't been exposed to that before, you're just learning, it does take a bit of time to adjust. And I think the players that we have now that have been here, certainly since I've been here, I mean, if you look at some of the players like Felicity Gibbons, who came from very lower league, and look at her transformation, it's been brilliant. So that's what we're striving for, the difference, professional. We're looking for those elite athletes that can play at the highest level, and we will try and strengthen year on year if we possibly can.